Can you explain the process of obtaining a hearing aid? What is the process? Does it take time to get set up for a hearing aid? And perhaps a little bit about the cost of hearing aids.
Look, yeah, it takes time. It does take time. So as I said before, it is important to have a very thorough audiological test done by a qualified audiologist. It's important to do your own hearing tests at home. And I would encourage every person with Meniere's disease to have a hearing test app and to do your own hearing tests at home. You get some guidance first, but once you understand, it's quite straightforward. And by doing that, you learn to monitor what's happening with your hearing. That helps when you're selecting a hearing aid. So, and then when we finally find the hearing aid that will be suitable for your needs, you come to the clinic and we do the fitting. The fitting can take time as well because we are dealing, as with in some cases or in many cases, with a very reduced dynamic range. So we need to really find that balance with the amplification. But once that's done, hang on. Once that's done, there's still chances, of course, there's a great chance that the hearing will fluctuate. So you have to have the appropriate instruments to deal with this fluctuation. Sometimes people need to be able to program their own hearing aids at home, and I do provide them with the instrumentation for that if it's really required. Many people can do all the adjustments to cater for their fluctuation just by using a volume control or a phone app, because the phone apps these days with the modern hearing aids, with the latest hearing aids, they're very sophisticated. You're able to adjust bass and trebles on your hearing aid just by the app, and that can be quite useful for patients with Meniere's. But this is something that needs guidance. It's not something that you can just do randomly. You need to know what you're doing. And that's what the role of the audiologist is, to empower you, to teach you how to use these instruments to the best of your ability. And to, in terms of cost, it varies. Hearing aids, the price of hearing aids vary. But I think, yeah, what happens, at least in my clinic, and I know that a lot of independent audiologists do that, and I think that's quite good, especially for patients with Meniere's disease. We tend to unbundle the price, so we separate what the hearing aid costs to the services that we provide. So the hearing aid itself doesn't cost as much when you buy from an independent clinic than you would from a place that bundles the cost. So because the place that bundles the cost, they charge a lot of money for the hearing aids, but then they say they provide everything else free. In an independent clinic like mine, for example, I charge less for the hearing aid, but I charge for my time as I go. So if you need to see me, you will pay for my time and my services, but the hearing aid price is separate from that. And that allows me to have a lower price for the hearing aid. But as I said, it varies, especially at this time. We are going through a major change in the hearing aid industry with all the online sales. So there's a lot of offer out there of old model hearing aids that have been sold for bargain price. And I must say, there's nothing wrong to buy a hearing aid online. If you already are an experienced hearing aid wearer, if you have been wearing hearing aids for a long time, you will know more about a hearing aid than a young audiologist that is trying to sell your hearing aids in a clinic, you know. So for a very experienced person, there's nothing wrong to buy the hearing aids online. But if you're doing that for the first time, I would say you're wasting your time and your money, because you eventually will have to go and see somebody to help you to adjust that hearing aid appropriately.